Hey everybody, Katie Sutton here, intuitive channel and founder of Zen Within Academy, live with your May 2022 energy update. I've got four very important themes to share with you this month. The first is the repressed feminine rising. The second is unshakable trust and non-attachment. The third is forgiveness and letting go. And the fourth is clearing the trauma filters. So stay tuned for the rest of the energy update. Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. I am a few days late in getting this energy update to you because we are just coming off of an incredibly successful very first Soul Expo. Thank you to everybody who attended or supported us in any way. We couldn't have done it without you, and we look forward to next year. So, we've got a lot going on this month. It is a big month of transformation. We are just off of a new moon solar eclipse, and we are in an eclipse window here for the first couple of weeks of May. And eclipses are big deals, right? We often have a whole bunch of change, a whole bunch of transition, a whole bunch of stuff coming to light, a whole bunch of things working themselves out when we're in these transitory phases here in between eclipses. And this one will be no different. Last month, we worked a lot on clearing the root chakra. We cleared a lot of fear, we cleared a lot of density, and we made a lot of space. And often, when we make a lot of space, a whole bunch of stuff comes in. And so here we are in May. So let me talk with you about the first theme. So the first theme is the repressed feminine rising. So unless you're living under a rock, you probably know that there is some major happenings here in the United States around feminine energy, meaning we have some reproductive rights and decisions on the docket right now at the Supreme Court that are going to deeply impact the feminine energy on this planet, especially here in the United States. And on one level, this can be very scary and create a lot of fear for a lot of people, and other people might be celebrating. I know wherever you are on the political spectrum, no judgment wherever you are, but there is a lot of energy clearing with this particular happening. Okay, and it does not surprise me that we are right here in this eclipse window. When I was at the Soul Expo this past weekend, I noticed how important it was for people to be connected in community and how much we have been missing that and how much we have been missing anchoring that light and that community together. And I'm not surprised that we're seeing something that is coming in to shake that frequency up, right? I felt very much like this eclipse was the beginning of a rebuilding of trust and connection in our community and clearing of some duality and some polarity. And I'm not surprised that we have this decision coming to the surface right now that is going to be very impactful and create a lot of duality and a lot of separation. And so we have a whole bunch of repressed feminine energy that is going to come to the surface in a very perhaps rageful and action oriented way to try to battle against these decisions that are coming. And when I look at this on the surface level, I can see all of the reasoning why this is happening, right? We are rising in frequency, we're rising in consciousness, and there's always some force that wants to kind of limit that and control that because they don't want us to wake up. Right? They don't want us to move forward in raising our frequency and taking our power back. And this is not just specific to the feminine, right? I'm talking all genders, all all different kinds of people here. This energy of us raising our consciousness is always going to be met with some level of duality, right? Anytime we bring in a lot of light, as we do at the beginning of this eclipse here, and this energy that's shifting in and shifting out, we're going to bring in a lot of dark. Okay, and so there's always this balance that needs to be struck. Something expansive happens, something contractive happens. I experience this in my life as well. And what I'm witnessing is that there are repressed feminine energies in each of us, whether that's our creativity, our ability to just be and not do, our ability to have our power, our feminine power, and use that feminine power, our ability to tune into our emotions. There's a whole bunch of energy that has been repressed for a very long time that is kind of bubbling up to the surface. And I think that this particular decision here in the United States, this court case that's going on, the Supreme Court opinion that's being released and leaked, right, is here to shake up that energy, get it, get it moving. And on one level, they're trying to repress that feminine energy even more, repress the light even more. But on another level, this is what has to happen, right? We often have to see the duality and the polarity get really, really loud in order for change to take place, in order for people to wake up and start taking action and start asking and telling people what they need. And so I think we're going to see that happening not just in the big stage, right, in the global stage, but I think we're going to see that happening in our individual lives. Meaning, when we're in an eclipse window, a lot of buried and repressed emotions often come to the surface, right? Things that we've been able to deny in the past come to the surface. And our job when those things come to the surface is to practice trust and non attachment, which takes me to my second theme. So, the second theme of May is unshakable trust and non attachment. Y'all, we're going to need to dig deep here. Okay. This is a moment in time where there's going to be things rising up to the surface, things that maybe we've had hidden for a long time. It's happening for me right now. There's some things that were buried within my psyche, within my energy field, within my emotional body that are rising up to the surface. And the timing has not felt super great because I had a lot going on. But I'm having to sit in unshakable trust and non attachment to the process. Because the moment that I step out of trust and I go into fear, and I step out of non attachment and I become attached to what's rising up, and my identity becomes attached to what's rising up, then I fall into the trapped emotions themselves. And I start to come into this place of feeling like I have no control and feeling like I'm not safe. And so, if we can sit in unshakable trust and non attachment that whatever is coming to the surface, whatever is happening, whether it's Roe v. Wade perhaps being overturned, or if it's something coming to the surface that we've kept repressed for a long time, when we rest in unshakable trust and non attachment, we make space for the universe to meet us wherever we are and for us to feel really supported in going through whatever it is that we have to move through. So you might be a little tested in that, especially at the beginning of the month. There may be something that comes in and you had a plan, you had a way of being, you had a thought process, you had a belief, and something comes in and it just shakes it right up, right? And you start to question things. Well, it's your job at the beginning of the month to step back into trust, to take a breath, to pull out of the swirl, to pull out of the confusion, to pull out of the duality that we see happening around us, and come back into trust and non attachment, realizing that everything that is happening for you and not to you. And so, this is our way of stepping beyond that separation consciousness and saying, I trust that whatever is happening in my life is also source. That whatever is happening in the world stage is also source. Even if I don't understand why it's happening, even if I'm fired up and pissed off that it's happening, own that emotion. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to have fear come up, but then see if you can take that and you can also hold trust and non attachment. Can you hold both? Can you allow the emotions to be expressed? Can you allow that repressed feminine to come to the surface and not become so mired in the things that are coming to the surface that you lose sight of the truth that you are still supported? Okay. This is not easy energy to navigate because you're being asked to hold a lot of things, to balance a lot of things. There's a lot of paradox energy that we're going to see coming up. That's normal for eclipse, okay? You have something really great happening, and then over here you have something really hard happening. You may find that that's the case for you this month. And so your job is to trust it all, to be unattached to all of it and to trust all of it, okay? That's your practice. And the third theme is around forgiveness and letting go. So, as some of these things come to the surface, you may say, well, how do I sit in trust? How do I sit in non attachment? Well, a really good practice to help with sitting in trust and help with sitting in non attachment is to come into a place of forgiveness. Forgiveness first for yourself. If there are decisions that you've made that have created some of these um, difficult energies in your life, but also forgiveness for those who maybe have created some of these traumas as well. And when we're able to hold forgiveness, we are also able to let go of the story and attachment that we have to that particular person, place, or thing that has created the disturbance for us, the trauma for us. And so forgiveness is like this energy that comes in and it kind of creates this release of stickiness, right? So when we're in a trauma place, when we're in a place of fear, when we're in a place of attachment, we need something to come in and kind of interrupt that. And so the practice of forgiveness, one of my favorite is Ho'oponopono, right? Working with that mantra, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, where you're speaking first and foremost to yourself, is a way to reprogram, or excuse me, deprogram the mental body that wants to go into the fear place, that wants to go into the attachment place. So working with forgiveness and working with letting go, right? This may mean letting go of control, letting go of what you thought needed to happen, being in that place of trust. Okay, these themes all work together. So as these emotions come to the surface, as these things come to the surface, being in the place of trust and non-attachment, and being in a place of forgiveness to the version of you or somebody else that perpetrated some of these emotional wounds. Okay. The faster you can get to that place of forgiveness, the quicker you'll be able to let go and come back to trust and non attachment. Now, the one caveat that I will say to that is let yourself feel the feeling first. Okay. Don't bypass the feeling. So, as the repressed feminine emotions arise, experience them in totality, and then come back to your center. Come back into your practices, come back into a place of forgiveness, and just keep allowing that process. This may happen a lot over and over and over this month. You may be asked to witness something, be with it, release it, and then another thing comes up. Okay, so this is going to be a continual process, especially the beginning of the month, because we've got these eclipse energies in place. And I'm noticing that at the back half of the month, we're going to have a lot of catapulting us forward action kind of energy coming in, and a lot of mental body energy coming in. And so do your work at the beginning of the month to be present with everything that you can. Be in these very Taurian energies that ask us to go slow and feel into our body and be present, so that when we get into this more air-like energy in the back half of the month, that you have the ability to kind of open back up and roll and move forward, roll with the punches, so to speak, and move forward in that mental body. So that takes me to the fourth theme. And this is, I think, the biggest of the month. This is the one that we're going to be working with in our healing circle as well. It's called clearing the trauma filters. So last month, we worked on our root chakras. We worked on anything that was keeping us from feeling safe in our body. We worked on our traumas that were held in our root chakra. And as I was working with clients last month, I started to notice this theme that those traumas that we held in our root chakra were also held up here in our mental body. And so when we get into our the back half of the month and we start working in these more mental body energies, these air energies that are going to start to come in to balance all this earth energy that we've been working with, we're going to be asked to do some clearing in the mental body. And so you can imagine that every trauma that you've experienced, that you've held onto in your root chakra, that you've built an identity around, also has become a filter of your lived experience as you walk day to day. And so basically, what that means is that when you get into a new relationship with someone, there's a high degree of possibility that if you're still holding on to that trauma and that trauma filter in the mental body, that even if they're the best person ever and they treat you amazing, that you're going to have trouble trusting in. So that takes me back to that second theme of trust, because you have this filter in place that says, oh, I have to protect myself because I had this wound with this other person and it may happen to me again. So last month we worked a lot on clearing those trauma filters in the or those traumas in the root chakra. Now we're going to be working on clearing the echo of those traumas in our mental body space. And whenever my guides show me this, they show it to me almost as these like lenses that exist in our reality. So it's almost as if I'm experiencing my reality and my relationships with other people and the different things that are happening in my life. And there's this kind of cloudy lens in place that is filled with all of the traumas that I've had. And what started to happen for me as I was unraveling some of these root chakra traumas in the last couple of weeks at the end of April is that I started to realize, oh my gosh, what I thought was happening in this relationship or this situation was all being filtered through that trauma. And I wasn't giving this person, place, or thing a chance. And so you may have kind of an aha as we go through this eclipse energy of, gosh, I have some deeply buried stuff here. And when those emotions come to the surface, you'll have the opportunity to feel them, to let them go, to come into a place of forgiveness and trust. And as that happens, these filters that we have in place in our mental body that are helping us to color our reality and helping us to interpret our reality will start to fall away and dismantle. And so that may also mean that you have a bit of a rude awakening in certain relationships where you've been giving somebody a lot of credit and maybe not setting boundaries that you needed to set because you were in denial about something. So this works in both directions. You may find that you're being too hard on somebody over here and you need to back off and realize that they're not who you thought they were because you were just bringing your trauma to that relationship. And then over here, you might have been in denial of some trauma and unable to even know that you had some trauma and just perpetuating that trauma going forward in this relationship over here. And you may realize, oh my gosh, this isn't in alignment for me anymore. And so I suspect that as these trauma filters clear out, you're going to have a lot of clarity that comes in. My guides, as I'm speaking about this, are giving me an image of a camera lens coming into focus, right? That it's being cleaned off as the filters are cleared, and then it's coming into focus. And when things come into focus in extreme clarity like that, we're often spurred into a fast action. And that's what we're going to be seeing as we move into the back half of this month, this action energy coming in of like, okay, I now know what I need to do. I now know what action I need to take. This thing is really not in alignment. I'm letting it go. Or this thing over here is really good and I'm going to lean more into it, right? This relationship, this situation. So be prepared for some of this energy to come to the surface, but you're going to have to be really cognizant of taking time to go inward to really get in touch with your truth and say, am I acting from a wound here? Am I acting from a place of truth and trust and non attachment and forgiveness and letting go? Or am I coming from this old place over here where this wound existed that I don't actually have to experience anymore, that I'm not experiencing in present time? So you're going to have to be a little diligent this month in paying a lot of attention to what's happening in your experience and then saying, okay, I release that, I let go of that, or I anchor this in order to shift my reality. You're going to have to make a lot of decisions in how you're interpreting things this month. That's normal with eclipse energy, right? It brings all of this stuff to the surface, but in that window between eclipses, it can be a little confusing. And then as soon as the eclipse is over, bam, we're right into action and right into clarity. So you're going to have to sit with a lot of energies this month, I think, in trying to interpret what's really going on. So a word of advice that my guides are bringing in is to go slow, right? To be present with everything and to not make any rash decisions. We also have some Mercury retrograde energy that we're throwing into the mix. I think that begins May 10th, and that always slows things down and makes us go inward, anyways. So we've got that coupled with some eclipse energy. So just be mindful. Be really mindful that you are in a place of truth, that you're not looking through these filters as you're making decisions. And always, always, always take the time that you need to honor whatever it is that you require to come to that place of truth. That might be space away, it might be time in nature, it might be more time on your yoga mat or more time in meditation. It may be getting out and being with people. Maybe you need to shake things up and you need to get moving and dancing and singing and getting in your creativity. Do whatever you need to do to come back to your center. And naturally, as that happens, you will have the space to release the things that you need to release this month. So, we got a lot going on, my friends, a whole lot going on. And I'm very excited about this particular healing circle because I feel like it these trauma filters are creating so much separation in our human experience, in our co-creation with other humans here as a collective. And I feel like as we start to release these filters, maybe some of us will wake up to the fact that we have been creating some duality in our experience. We have been creating some separation, and we don't need to do that anymore. It's safe to connect. It's safe to be in community again. It's safe to co create. And boy, did I see that at the expo. It was amazing to see people reconnecting and putting themselves out there and getting help from healers and coming and learning about new things at our workshops. It was amazing to see that energy. I know that's where we're headed, but we got to let go of all of these protective devices that we've put in place over the last however many years that we've been creating that separation so that we can come into co-creation with one another. And I really feel like May is a pivotal month to get us going in that direction. So pay attention, everyone. Lots of important things happening. And so, if you'd like to join us, we do have our monthly healing circle working on clearing those trauma filters. That's going to take place on Wednesday, May 18th at 7:30. These healing circles are getting deeper and deeper every month. We're going into deeper teachings, we're clearing bigger things. They're really amazing, and it's a great way to be supported month to month in a sacred container in community. And so I hope you'll check it out. Even if you just want to join us for this month, that's fine. You can do that, or you can sign on and become a subscriber for $30, and you get access going all the way back to 2019 of every healing circle I've ever done. So it's a really great opportunity to be together in community. It's online and it's also recorded, so you don't even have to join live if that time is difficult for you. And I hope to see some of you there. And so I hope you all have an amazing month. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of my updates. I'm working on a new video series about empathy and being an empowered empath and sensitive superhero. That's going to be coming out in the near future. So don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss that free video series that's going to be coming out very soon. All right. I hope you all have an amazing May. Take good care of yourselves. Take the time that you need to be coming back to that center place so that you can be in trust and forgiveness and letting go. All right. See you all next month. Bye bye.